Greetings, 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 everyone, and welcome to our Power Thinking, Rejuvenating Your Amazing Mind training for Wednesday, January 7, 2026. Brand new year. This is our first session of the new year. And I want to wish you all a happy new year. Hope that your week is getting off to a great start, that you had a great day today, and of course, that your 2026 is getting off to a great start. So we appreciate the fact that you are with us. We are going to move into on our phone lines. Thank you for your patience. We had some challenges with the phone number. So hopefully, and it looks like a few of you were able to get in online. Or using a different number as you were guided through the process of clicking the link that we gave you. So we thank you for that. We're going to move into Q&A. Session has started. And you can hit that *6 at any time. Of course, our goal in 2026, as it has been for a number of years now, is to help you build these absolutely essential skills of resilience. And, life is a lot easier, when we understand the power we have to bounce back from life's adversities faster. So we certainly appreciate the fact that you are here reinforcing these skills so that it's like athletics, you practice every day. And then when the game hits, you're ready. You're ready for whatever happens. So Annie in the UK, good to see you on LinkedIn. He's saying, I'm here, Sir Stanley. That's the way you do it in the UK, right? To call you sir, whatever. And I appreciate that. I'm honored that you're here so early on a Thursday morning in the UK. Oh, you said nothing showing on LinkedIn yet. Wait a minute. It should be. Let us see. Let me know again if you're seeing anything on LinkedIn. We should be fired up there. I am going to, okay, we are live on LinkedIn. So you see yourself on LinkedIn. I'm going to check LinkedIn for a second here and make sure that I see it. Yep, I see it. So it looks like we are there. Thank you very much for giving us that update, Annie. And we thank folks on our phone lines. This is another year. We started this in 2018 on our phone lines, and in 2023, we started doing some things on LinkedIn audio simultaneously, which worked out really, really well. There were times when we had well over 100 people in, on a given session. And Annie, you remember those days with LinkedIn audio. And then in 2024, the end of 2024, they eliminated the LinkedIn audio. And they just left us with the LinkedIn video and LinkedIn Live. And we just came back to simulcasting on LinkedIn just a few months ago. And not only did we do that, but we then expanded into the other platforms as well. Facebook, we can go to just Stanley Green. X, under Power Thinking Corp. Under YouTube, Power Thinking Corp. And under Twitch, Power Thinking Corp. And of course, LinkedIn is Stanley Green. So appreciate you all for being with us. And today, as we start the new year, thought it would be very appropriate to start with a discussion around our power thinking, resilience, inner strength, number 4, and that is self-efficacy. And we may have some big plans and not so big plans, but we have goals, and we want to make every year better than the last because you just never know. We don't know how much time we have on this earth. We want to make sure that every day counts. And I'm really happy that you're investing the 30 minutes with us to ensure that you're going to be equipped to making every day count. So we certainly appreciate you for that. But self-efficacy, which is the belief that you have control over your ability to succeed, is extremely, extremely important because, if you don't, you're setting out to do some things. And if you really are not sure if you can do the things that you want to do, that you set out to do, it's going to be a problem. Your chances of getting it done, um, are not that great, especially when you're knocked down, especially when you hit an adversity. And that's what we're preparing you for. So you need to have strong self-efficacy and strong belief about yourself and your ability to succeed. Never giving up. When things get really tough, you bounce back and you bounce back and you pivot. You find another way, and ultimately you get there. It may take years. Many of us certainly would love to have the success that we're shooting for, if not overnight, then certainly within a year or so. But that's not the case. That may not happen, and in many cases, it just doesn't happen. And the question becomes, do you have what it takes to keep pushing, to keep moving forward when things are dark, when you run out of money, when you're evicted from your residence? You're like a Tyler Perry, who's now a billionaire, and he loves to tell the story about how he was homeless and he was living out of his car. So many folks would say, well, look, I want to be where he is, but I don't want to I don't want to be in a situation where I'm living out of my car. I mean, I want all of the good stuff, but I don't want the uncomfortable. And we have to learn how to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. And that's what we are preparing you for. So let's we have someone, Maji Peter has joined us. We really appreciate you. And he says, giving up is easy. Staying consistent when results are quiet is where real winners are made. And we shared a video with you. It's a kid's video, but we were all kids once. And when we were adults, we may have had children who watched Sesame Street. We parked them in front of the TV. But there were interesting things shared. Folks, young people were learning their letters and their numbers, and they were learning some real key lessons in life. And so the video we shared was from Sesame Street. It was Ray Charles and Elmo singing a song, Believe in Yourself. Real simple. And, it was Ray Charles, and Elmo was asking Ray Charles, what was he doing and how is he able to sing a song and read the words and without sight. So you talk about belief in yourself. Ray Charles continues to be an icon, global icon, and he couldn't see. He needed people to help him move him around, and of course, he had whatever he needed to help him, but he was able to not only succeed but had wild success as a songwriter, as a singer, a performer, entertainer. Just an amazing individual. There was a film made about at least one or two. And here he was with Elmo doing a Sesame Street episode, singing a short but powerful song. Believe in yourself. You can go where you want to go. You can be whatever you want to be, but only if you believe in yourself. So, what are your thoughts about that? We'll kind of share some of the thoughts on LinkedIn. Feel free to write in your comments about your belief in yourself, your self-efficacy. I see Maji Peter says belief is choosing yourself daily, especially when nothing is working yet. Choosing yourself daily, especially when nothing is working yet. And how about you? Certainly on the phone lines, feel free to hit that *6. Love to hear from you, or just go on LinkedIn or YouTube and leave a comment. We'd love to get your thoughts on this self-efficacy, on belief. And another comment from Aji is self-belief plus persistence. And when you're resilient, it's easier to persist, to keep moving. So self-belief plus persistence will always outlast doubt. Don't stop now. And I would argue, don't ever stop. You certainly can make adjustments, you can pivot, but don't ever stop. There are many times, and quite frankly, there's nothing wrong with, at some point, just, looking at everything and asking the question, should you keep going? And many will give up because they were pursuing their goals in one way. They may have been operating with tunnel vision, where there may have been many ways to achieve that goal, but they were tunnel visioned and focusing only on one way. And when that one way didn't work, they said, well, I'm out. It's just not going to happen for me. When in fact, it can happen. So let's take a minute to go through those inner strengths. Certainly today we're focusing on the inner strength of self-efficacy, but there are others that persistent people and resilient people have, and people who tend to persevere, who have this thing called grit. And grit actually came out of the same University of Pennsylvania Positive Psychology Center as resilience. A few years ago, there was a woman named Angela Duckworth who wrote a globally popular book called Grit, and people started using the term grit. Well, she was also mentored by the prominent psychologist, Dr. Martin Seligman, who was, behind the work that I share with you every week. He was the person that came up with this thing called learned helplessness, that people can actually fall into a state of helplessness when experiencing trauma, a traumatic event, or persistent failure to succeed. They'll tend to feel, powerless. And even though there's a way up, there's a way out, they don't believe that they can do it. And so he went on to then, study and write a book about the opposite. If they can learn to be helpless through these series of failures and setbacks, and then fall into a state where, they don't move, they're immobile, they're isolated. Can they learn to be optimistic? Can they learn to be resilient? Can they learn to be persistent? Can they learn to persevere? Can they develop grit? And the answer is yes. What they've concluded after decades of research is that we can build this resilience, and there's a framework for doing that they've developed. When I conducted a workshop for a group of folks in their 80s and 90s. They have a monthly luncheon. They were graduates of the University of Pennsylvania in the 1950s. I did this back in 2019. I was so honored to be, before them. And when I went through our 7 inner strengths, one gentleman blurted out, "This is common sense genius." And I thought, yeah, I think you nailed it. We're not talking about, sophisticated psychological jargon that's taught in the universities. They were smart enough to reduce this into very understandable and common terms that the average person can put their arms around. So that's what I love about the framework, the inner strengths and the skills that are presented. So any on LinkedIn commented, it is critical to take action, right? And that's one of our inner strengths, especially when you're down. Folks, tend to just not be able to get out of bed. We've heard about athletes when they lose a big game, and they may stay in the house for 2 weeks and may stay in bed for extended periods of time. Or if you had a major failure, let's say you had a company that went under, or you were just suddenly laid off from a job where you worked for 20, 25 years, you tend to question yourself. What did I do? You tend to personalize, which is one of the thinking traps. Um, so during those times, and you just skip to number seven, inner strength number seven of the seven inner strengths, which is reaching out. And that is not only connecting with other people, making those phone calls and texts, so that you can get the help to get out of that rut and to get unstuck, but also to take action. And part of that action is, getting on the phone, texting, calling. So it's crucial to take action, take the first steps, and keep going to make your vision a reality, especially when things get really, really tough. Um, Recognize that many other folks are going through the same thing. Maybe not the same exact situation, but they're going through tough times as well. And they're all over the world. I made a presentation today where I talked about, my colleagues over in Japan, in Tokyo, where we did a 2-day workshop with the Japan Positive Psychology Association and a group of executive directors of nonprofits and CEOs of for-profit organizations, and they all, every single person had shared a crushing adversity, and that's how we started off the session. Um, when you look at me in the picture with them all, you'd think, well, hey, they don't have any problems. They're smiling and they're in great positions. But when I shared my crushing adversity to open up the introductions, and that was how folks introduce themselves, their names, but not only name and what they do, but here is the crushing adversity that I experienced. It set me back, and I may have bordered on, depression as a result. And each person had something different, but very, very crushing. And so we certainly had that common bond that we've all experienced a crushing adversity. And then the question is, how did we rise above them? And what we found is that we went through this framework, the 7 inner strengths that resilient people have, and then the skills they should be practicing. What they found was that, hey, I may have used this or that in order to get out of that rut, in order to get unstuck. I see that Liana Stock Luma joined us. And folks, let us know where you're joining us from. And I see, yes, you're joining us, tuning in from Duluth, Minnesota. Hi, Stanley Green. It's great to have you, and Happy New Year to you. And you may have heard it because I've probably been in other sessions where maybe with Leslie Flowers or someone else, where when you mentioned Duluth, I said, I've been there. Most people haven't heard of Duluth, Minnesota. And I remember flying in to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then driving a few hours north. It may have been north, a little east, to the right on the shores of Lake Superior in the Midwest. It was cold. When I tell you it was cold, and I was the CEO of a company called Sprint Turf. We installed synthetic turf for football, and the real football, like any football, is different than American football. Soccer, we call it here, but those fields, had multiple sports played on them, from American football or soccer and lacrosse, baseball even, and we had to do some things. So it was really great to be in your town, and thanks for joining us. From Duluth, Minnesota. And folks, if you're joining us, let us know where you're joining us from. So, we talked a little bit about our resilience inner strength number 4, and I want to go over the others. But I want to make sure you take this poll. We had about over 40 people take our poll, and it's going to be up for a few more days. And so here's the question. It's on LinkedIn. Feel free to go there, or you can feel free to comment with your response. True or false? Most people have the belief. They have the belief in themselves necessary to achieve their goals in 2026. So think about that. Many people, is this true or false? Most people, not many, but most people already have the belief in themselves necessary to achieve their goals in 2026. Would you say that is true, or is it false? Or is it, do you have some other thoughts about that? And why don't you go to LinkedIn? You can check out some of the comments that folks wrote. So 56% of the people, more than half, said it's true. We all have, or most of us have, what it takes. We have that belief in ourselves. We won't give up until we get it done. And so most people already have that to achieve their goals in 2026 and beyond. 32% said false. Although when I talk to other folks privately, they say, well, you know what? Yeah, most people, they may say they have what it takes, that, but they really don't. They may have some self-doubt. They may have some limiting beliefs. So what are your thoughts about that? How about yourself? What are you doing? And I'm going to share about 5 tips that you can use to ensure that you are going to have what it takes to push through, to persevere, to bounce back, to believe in yourself, and never give up. So that's our poll question. Make sure you go over to my LinkedIn page, Stanley Green, and search for my posts, and you'll see that particular poll question. So we said, I see Liana mention the North Shore of Lake Superior is gorgeous and very cold in the winter. I wonder if any folks are ice skating, when it gets really cold on Lake Superior. So that would be interesting. Let us know there, Liana. So what are those inner strengths? Certainly self-efficacy, the belief that you have control of your ability to succeed, is one of them. This is that belief in yourself. And of course, we start with emotion regulation. If you're going to be able to bounce back from life's adversities faster, we want to have an ability to control our emotions. There are 5 big negative emotions. And of course, controlling our emotions means staying calm under pressure. And the 5 big negative emotions are anger, the belief, the belief that someone is violating your rights. Guilt, the belief that you are violating someone else's rights. There's sadness, that's just pure loss. It could be a loss of a loved one, loss of health, loss of a job. Then there's embarrassment. That's a loss of standing in a group. And then finally, one of the big ones, the big A, not anger, but this one is the fear of a future threat. It's anxiety. So those are the 5 big negative emotions. There are other negative emotions as well, but those are the ones that we are, really focused on, the ones that are most experienced. So we want to make sure that we're building our strengths there. Then there's impulse control, the ability not to say or do the first thing that comes to mind. Next is empathy. That is the ability to understand another person's experiences and emotions. There's self-efficacy, our focus for today. And in our app, every Wednesday on the app, we're going to focus on self-efficacy and send you a short video to help reinforce that. On the app, when these inner strengths, it lines up with the days of the week. So on Sundays, and we just started this a couple of weeks ago, every Sunday, you're going to get something related to reinforce emotion regulation. On Tuesdays, impulse control. Sunday, it's emotion regulation. Monday is impulse control. Tuesday, it's empathy. And today, Wednesdays, self-efficacy. And that's through the app. You will be getting short videos every single day of the week related to the appropriate inner strength. On Thursdays, tomorrow in the app, the folks who are using the app, sometime during the day, you'll get a short video to reinforce optimism, the view that all things will ultimately have a successful outcome. And then on Friday, there's causal analysis, the systematic way to get to the root cause of a situation or problem And then finally, on Saturday, the most important and most powerful of those inner strengths. And this is a strength and not a weakness. And we're talking about reaching out on Saturdays. And we'll have a video for that. You getting that on the app. We're going to give you a 30-day free trial. You'll be asked to put in your card information, but it won't be charged for 30 days, and you can get a chance to test this app out. You'll be able to get a baseline in terms of where you are on those inner strengths. There's an assessment. It's called the Power Thinking Assessment, and you'll see that in the menu section of the app, where you can actually take this assessment, 8 questions for each of the inner strengths, and get an immediate score. Are you average? Are you above average? Are you below average in these inner strengths? And you'll get an instant score. That'll be your baseline. And then, of course, we have the calls that you can attend, but if you have the app, you may not even need to attend the call because we're going to have on the app access to the recordings, the recording from this morning and going back for a few months. It's all in the convenient place in the app. But most importantly, we're going to be getting you micro lessons every day around how you get stronger in those 7 areas through push notifications. So while you get push notifications from various social media platforms, which is they're meant to entertain you, you're going to be getting empowering information, reinforcing these essential skills through those same push notifications from Power Thinking. And then how about those skills? What are they? One is learning the ABCs, the relationship between the adversity you experience, the belief about that adversity, which then drives how you're going to respond. And so when we change our belief, we can change how we respond. We can eliminate or mitigate, reduce, or eliminate altogether a negative emotion. It is possible, and they don't have to really disrupt our lives. There's avoiding the thinking traps, like jumping to conclusions and mind reading and minimizing and magnifying. These thinking traps affect our self-efficacy, and it affects our ability to control our emotions, our impulses, so forth. So each of these skills are very, very powerful. There's detecting those deep-rooted iceberg beliefs. There's then taking action, challenging and pushing back on these beliefs that are not serving us well. There's putting things in their proper perspective, then calming and focusing. So when we talk about the apps like Calm and Headspace, their total focus is just on one of our skills, calming and focusing, because it's about meditation. It's about sounds that help us get sleep and so forth and so on. But we're helping you to understand your thinking and the thinking traps you fall into. So number 7 of the skills is real-time resilience. We can significantly reduce the amount of time it takes to bounce back from adversity by getting that assessment, getting that baseline, taking it maybe 30, 60, 90 days later and seeing where you stand, but constantly staying plugged in and ultimately doing it through the Power Thinking Corp app. So I'm going to thank you all for joining us as we focus on our belief in ourselves. And here are the 5 tips. Focus on the small wins. Don't just focus on what you miss. Focus on the wins. Last year, what did you accomplish? We talked about that before. And practice positive self-talk, right? The affirmations. Write down the things you're grateful for, the 3 good things before going to bed tonight that happened today. Step outside of your comfort zone. Number 4, treat yourself with kindness. Don't beat yourself up. Remember, one of the thinking traps is personalizing. It's beating ourselves up too much. Be kind to yourself. And then finally, recognize that mistakes are learning opportunities. And as Super Bowl winning quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts mentioned a few years ago when he lost the Super Bowl, he said, you either win or you learn. It's not win or lose. You win or you learn. So I want to thank you all for joining us. Again, Make it a fantastic evening and review of the week. Make sure this 2026 is going to be the year unlike any other year in terms of what you've accomplished and how much you grow. Thank you for being part of Power Thinking. And as I go back, I want to wish you all a fantastic evening, and thanks for your perseverance in doing this. Take care, everybody. Doug, I hear you, and Calvin and Julian from the West Coast. Good to see you. Greg Jones, good to see you as well. Layla, thank you very much. And everyone else, make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. And on our 5 platforms, thank you so much for being with us. And I see Leanna's comment. It is Winning Wednesday. I love it. Winning Wednesday. So we really appreciate that comment. Lake Superior is so big it never freezes. How about that? Never freezes over. Minnesota is a land of 10,000 lakes, and ice fishing is huge. So that's really cool. I'll take the fish, but I don't think I'll go out there and do ice fishing. So we appreciate you, Leanna, for being with us. Thanks for a great session tonight, Stan and family. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Annie, thank you. And Danny says thank you as always. Thank you on a beautiful Thursday morning. Make it a great 2026. And Annie, we look forward to really strengthening our relationship and partnership and helping as many people around the world as possible. Take care, everyone, and remember, since we spend all of our time thinking, 50,000 thoughts a day, we must think with power and utilize power thinking. Take care.